Hello everyone and welcome to week 8 of campCODE. This week we're going to be learning about lists. And lists are probably exactly what you think they are. They're lists of information that we use in coding. And just like when we learned about variables, you need to name a list before you're able to put information inside of it. So for example, I want to go grocery shopping and I need to make a shopping list before I go so I know what to buy. So I'm going to make my list and name it shopping list. And then I'm going to write down all the things I need to buy inside of it. So for example, apples, oranges, eggs, and milk. And so I have 4 things inside of my list. And so the length of my list would be 4. And we're going to use that property of lists in our code today, where we're going to get ready for school using lists. So let's get started by going on to Scratch. In the background, I have Scratch pulled up. I'm going to sign in at the top right, and then I'm going to click on the Create button on the top left to get our project started. First, I'm going to name my project. So at the top, I'm going to rename this Lesson 8. And I'm going to clear my little preview area by getting rid of Scratch the Cat down here. Next, I'm going to set up my stage by choosing a backdrop on the bottom right. And since we're going to be getting ready for school, we're going to start off in our bedroom. So I'm going to use bedroom 2 this time for our backdrop. Next, we're going to choose our sprite. So I'm going to go down to the bottom to choose a sprite. And we're going to choose a person to get ready for school. So I'm going to click on the people category up top. And we're going to use this sprite right here, Harper, because it looks like we can dress her up to get ready for school. I'm going to click on that and then move her to the left of the bed right over here. I'm going to code for her starting position by going to the event blocks, grabbing the when green flag is clicked block, and then going to our motion blocks and getting our go to X and Y block. So in this case, she's at X negative 172, Y 21. Next, I'm going to code for something that she's going to say. So I'm going to have her say, "Hello, please help me get ready for school." So I do that by getting the look block that says, say hello for 2 seconds. And I'm going to change that to say, "Hello, please help me get ready for school." And I'm going to say that for 3 seconds. Next, I want her to tell me what she needs for school. So I'm going to have her say, "I'll need my clothes, lunch, and school supplies." So we're going to grab that same block and we're going to change that hello to say, "I'll need my clothes, lunch, and school supplies." And we're going to say that for 3 seconds as well. So now that we know what she needs, let's get some sprites so we can put them in the room so she can grab them later. So in the choose a sprite area, first we're going to get some clothes. So under the fashion category here, you can see that there's lots of different clothes that she can wear, and you can see Harper here as well actually. So in this case, I'm going to choose some pants, and I'm going to go back and choose a shirt. And lastly, go back one more time, and I'm going to choose some shoes. So you can dress her up however you want to, but I'm just choosing these 3 items because they're very basic. Next, I'm going to place them somewhere in the room. So let's start off with the pants. We're going to put the pants just in the bottom corner here, and I'm going to rotate them a little bit so they look like they're on the floor and a little messy. And I'm going to code for this. So we'll have to go to our event blocks, grab that when green flag is clicked block for the pants, go to my motion blocks and get that positioning block. So go to, in this case, the pants are at X 199, Y negative 133. And we also rotated the pants a little bit to make it look more natural on the floor. So in this case, we're going to grab that point in direction block, and it's approximately at direction 142. So I'm just going to put it at 150, or if you want to be more precise, you can always just type it in 142 right over there. So now when the green flag is clicked, she'll say her little help me get ready for school speech, and then we'll have the pants start off down at the bottom here. And we're going to do that for the shirt as well. So for the shirt, I'm going to have it maybe behind her over here. We're going to rotate it a little bit this way. And we want it behind her. So in this case, when I code for the shirt, I'm going to go to the event blocks, grab my when green flag is clicked block, go to my motion blocks, and grab my positioning block. So go to X negative 185, Y negative 65. And then I'm going to point in the direction of, right now it's at 45 over here. So I'm going to change this to 45 as well. And lastly, we want this shirt to be behind Harper. So I'm going to go into my look blocks and scroll to the bottom. And I'm going to click on that go to layer block and change it to the back layer. So I want it to be in the background. Next, I'm going to do my shoes. But let's first test this out. I'm going to click on the green flag, and you'll see that the shirt has now gone behind Harper. So I'm going to stop that preview, and we're going to code for the shoes. So the shoes, I'm just going to put maybe at the foot of the bed right over here. So when I'm going to go to my event blocks to grab my when green flag is clicked block, I'm going to go to my motion blocks to grab my go to block. So go to X negative 34, Y negative 88. And lastly, I don't need to reposition or rotate this in any direction, so I'm going to leave it like that. Next, Harper said that she needed some lunch. So let's go into our sprites again. And this time we're going to choose a lunch for her. So under the food category up here, we're going to choose some lunch. So she can have something healthy like an apple or banana, something unhealthy like cheese puffs. But I'm going to go down to the bottom here and let's just give her some takeout for lunch. So I'm going to click on this. We have her takeout, and this takeout's a little bit big compared to her body. So we're going to have her eat a little bit less, and we're going to change the size down here to 50% of the original size. So that's a more reasonable takeout box size. And we're going to put this right on her table over here. So let's code for this by going into the event blocks, grabbing that when green flag is clicked block, going to our motion blocks, and grabbing our go to X and Y position block. So X is 160, Y is 65 in this case. And then we're going to change the size. So I believe that's in the looks blocks. And if you scroll down, there's two change size blocks available here. And in this case, we're going to use this set size to percentage block. And we have it at 50% right now. So we're going to put that underneath right there. And so now when I click on this flag, Harper will say, please help me get ready for school, and list all the things she needs. And then we'll have all of these things in their correct positioning. But we did forget her last thing that she needed, and that is school supplies. So let's go back into our sprites, and we're going to choose one school supply. And there's no category at the top, unfortunately, for school supplies. So we're going to have to scroll through all of these here. And we're just looking for anything she can use at school. So maybe that laptop right over here, but I'm going to keep scrolling and I'm just going to give her a pencil right here. So here's her pencil, and this one is also a little bit too big. So in this case, I'm going to change the size of this to 25%. So it's a nice small pencil that will fit in her hand right there. And I'm going to put this pencil underneath the bed right over here. So it's a little harder to find. And we're going to code for this by going to the event blocks again, grabbing our when green flag is clicked block, our motion block to code for the positioning. So in this case, it's go to X 100, Y negative 29. And then we don't have to position it any differently, so I'm just going to leave it at that. So that is our initial startup code, all finished. Next, I'm going to have her say, so I'm going to go back to Harper, and I'm going to have her say, click me when you're done. So I'm going to go into my looks blocks. I'm going to have her say, click me when you're done. And we're going to have her say that for 3 seconds as well, because we're going to have to click on all these different sprites. We're going to add it to a list and make sure that she has everything on that list before she gets ready for school. So in this case, we'll have to make our list. So under the variables blocks that we dealt with our variables, there's actually an area that says make a list, and it's right before the my blocks area down here. So at the very end of the variables, there's this option to make a list. So I'm going to click on that. We're going to have to name our list. So in this case, I'm going to call it get ready list, because we're using this list to make sure we have everything to get ready. Push OK. And you'll see here we have something popping up that says get ready list. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. It's going to go right over the bed. So here we have our list. Next, we're going to have to put things in the list. So in this case, when I click on each of these different sprites down here, so the pants, the shirt, the shoes, takeout, and pencil, I want it to be added to this get ready list so that we know that we have that for school. So what I need to do is when I click on the pants, for example, and in this case, I want it to be added to the list when the sprite is clicked. So under the event blocks, I'm going to grab that when this sprite is clicked block. And we're going to go back to our variables area. And you'll see now on the bottom underneath the variable orange blocks, there's now a darker orange list block or many list blocks. And you'll see here our get ready list. There's a check mark right beside it. And that just means that our get ready list is showing the list inside of our preview window. And if I uncheck it, you'll see that in our preview window, we're no longer seeing the list on the screen. So right now I do want to see my list, so I'll make sure that's checked. And so when this sprite, my pants, are clicked, I want to add pants to my get ready list. So there's this block right under the first block under our get ready list block that we just made. It says add thing to get ready list. So I'm going to grab this and put it underneath my when this sprite is clicked block. And instead of thing, I want to know what is on my list. And in this case, it would be pants. So I'm going to add pants to my get ready list, so that when I push on this green flag and I click on the pants, you'll see that it is added to my get ready list right up here. The only problem is that if I click on pants multiple times, my get ready list has multiple pants on there, and I only really need one pair of pants. So in this case, I'm going to code it so that when I click on the pants and it is added to our get ready list, I want it to disappear so I can't click on it again. So how I do that is by going to my looks blocks, grabbing that hide block, and just putting it at the end so that when the sprite is clicked, I'll add it to my list and then I will hide. And also remember, when we use the hide block, we have to use our show block. So in this case, we want the pants to show up again when we click on the green flag again. So I'm just going to put it up at the very top of right underneath that when green flag is clicked block. So now when I push on the green flag, I can click on my pants and they'll get added again to the bottom of this list and then disappear. Now you'll see the problem in the list being that none of the other pants that I clicked on before have disappeared. So there's actually this block under the variables in our list blocks that says delete all of get ready list. So that's how we delete all the items off of the list at the very beginning of the code. So I'm going to put this block at the very beginning when the green flag is clicked, so that when I click on this green flag, this list is now empty again. So now when I click on the pants, it'll disappear and then add the pants to our get ready list. So now we want to do basically the same thing for all of our different sprites, except we don't have to delete all the get ready list for each of the different items because it will delete the full list when we start our code. So we only need this piece of code right over here one time in any of the sprites. So this can even be put inside of the Harper code if you want to make sure that all of your general code is in one area. But I'm going to leave this in here for now. I'm going to go on to my next sprite. So I'm going to grab my event block. When this sprite is clicked, I want to go to my variable blocks. I wanted to add a thing to my get ready list. And in this case, the thing would be shirt. And then I wanted to hide so I can't click on it again. And I have to make sure to grab my show block as well, and I'll put it at the very top of my when green flag is clicked code. So now when I push on the green flag, my pants and my shirt are now added to that list. Next is the shoes. So I'm going to grab my when the sprite is clicked event block, grab my list block, so add thing to list. I'm going to change that to add shoes to list, and that's to the get ready list that I have. And then I'm going to hide and make sure to add that show block at the very beginning. One more time for takeout, so same thing, event blocks. When the sprite is clicked, I want to add my takeout to that get ready list. So under variables, add takeout to get ready list, and then I'm going to hide at the end and show at the beginning. And one last time for our pencil, under the event blocks, when this sprite is clicked, under variables, I'm going to add pencil to get ready list. Then I'm going to hide after I click on it. And lastly, show when I first click on that green flag. So let's test out our code so far. I push on this green flag and she says, please help me get ready for school. I'll need clothes, lunch, and school supplies. And click me when you're done. So I have my lunch, my takeout, my pants, my shoes, my pencil, and lastly, my shirt. So you'll see here, this is my get ready list down here. You'll also see that there is along the bottom, it says length of 5. So there's 5 items in my list right now. And then we want her to be clicked when we're done. So I'm going to click on her, but nothing's going to happen right now because we haven't coded for anything to happen. So in the event blocks, I'm going to choose again when this sprite is clicked. And so when the sprite is clicked, I want to make sure that there are 5 items on my get ready list. And if there aren't 5 items, I want her to make sure that we do have all the things that she needs. So that sounds like I might need an if statement. So I'm going to go into my control blocks. And I'm going to choose between one of these if statements. So what do we want to happen? We want to make it so that if the length of this get ready list is 5, so we have 5 items on that list, then we want her to say, thanks, that looks like everything, time to go to school. But if that list does not have 5 items, so if it has less than 5 items, then we want her to say, I think something's missing. Can you check again? So that's going to be an if-else statement because we're doing 2 different conditions here. So we want to make sure that it's either 5 or not 5. So we're going to grab our if-else statement and we're going to fill in our condition. So we're going to go to our operators again. And in this case, we want to make sure that the length of our get ready list is equal to 5. So we're going to grab our equals operator and put that in there. And we want it to be equal to 5. Next, we're going to have to find a variable to describe our list length. And we talked about the length earlier, so that's how many items are in the list. So under the variable blocks, where we have all of our list blocks, there's actually something that says along the bottom, length of get ready list. So this here is how we know the number of items inside of the get ready list. So when we put this inside of our operator here, this if statement right now says, if the length of my get ready list is equal to 5, then I'm going to do whatever is inside this first C up here. But if it's not 5, then I'll do whatever is inside the second part that says else. So I said that if the length is equal to 5, so we have all 5 items in our list, then she'll say, thanks, that looks like everything, time to go to school. So I'm going to go to my look blocks, grab that say hello for 2-second block, and I'm going to change it to say, thanks, that looks like everything. Time to go to school. And I'm going to have her say that for 4 seconds. And else, so if I don't have 5 items in my list, I'm going to have her say, I think something's missing. Can you check again? So I'm going to grab that say hello for 2-second block again to put in here. And I'm going to change the dialogue to say, I think something's missing. Can you check again? And I'm going to have her say that for 4 seconds as well. So let's test this out. I'm going to push on my green flag. We have her empty list up here. And then she tells us what she needs. So clothes, lunch, and school supplies. And then to click her when we're done. So I'm going to click on all of these items. But I didn't see the shirt behind her, let's say. So I'm going to click her. And she's going to say, I think something's missing. Can you check again? And you'll look here and you'll see that our length is only 4 items. So we're missing the 5th item behind her feet. So I'm going to click on this shirt. Now we have 5 items and we're going to click on Harper again. And this time she says, that looks like everything, time to go to school. So we can either leave this list up here or you can actually hide it by going to the variables and unchecking that list. So now that list does not get in the way and you won't be able to see how many items are on your list. So we're going to click all of the items. We won't see the list on the preview, but when we click on Harper, we'll see that we do have everything and it's time to go to school. So I'm going to add a little bit of extra onto this. We're going to have her be dressed up in all the clothes when she says time to go to school. So we're going to use a broadcast event in order to get her all dressed up if we have all of the items on her list. So I'm going to go to my event blocks. And I'm going to grab that broadcast message block. And I want to broadcast the message that I'm going to call school time. So I'm going to make a new message. I'm going to say school time. And I'm going to put that into the if statement right underneath that part where she says, thanks, that looks like everything, time to go to school. And so when we broadcast school time, I want her to wear the pants, the shirt, and also the shoes. So let's try to move the pants, shoes, and shirt onto her. And I'm going to do that by first unhiding everything. Then I'm going to try to drag, and there's a slight issue. Because every time when we click on the pants that it disappears, we're not able to move the pants during this project. So in our code, I'm going to just get rid of this hide block for a second. I'm going to move it off of our code so that when I push on the show, now I can move the pants. I'm going to rotate it back to the 90 direction that it was at before. Right there. And I'm going to move it over so it looks like she's wearing her pants. And I want this to happen when I broadcast that school time message. So in this case, on my event blocks, when I receive school time, I want to move the pants to this new position. So on my motion blocks, I'm going to go to X negative 170, Y negative 64, and I also want to unrotate it. So I'm going to point in direction 90 again. And I also want them to show up because we had hidden it before. So on my looks blocks, I'm going to grab that show block as well. Next, I'm going to put that hide block back together with my code. So now I'm going to click on the green flag to test it out. We're going to gather all of her get ready items. Click on her. And then she says, that looks like everything, time to go to school. It'll broadcast that school time event, and then we'll have her wearing the pants. And we want to do that with the shirt and also the shoes. So I'm going to go to my shirt. I'm going to click on the show so I know where it is. Get rid of this hide block. Move the shirt to where I want it to go and maybe unrotate it as well to 90 degrees again. And I'm going to make sure it's in the right position. So right there. And so I'm going to go to my event blocks. And when I receive that school time broadcast, I'm going to first go to a new position. So go to X negative 171, Y 25. I'm going to point in the direction of 90 again. So I'm going to unrotate my shirt. And lastly, I'm going to show. And I'm going to put this hide back in there. So quick test, we're going to get all of her items, click on her, and then it looks like everything is ready. So we have the pants on, but you'll notice that the shirt is actually behind her. You see a little bit of an outline behind her. And that's because we sent it to the back layer at the very beginning of the code right over here. So in this case, we'll have to remember to put a piece of code to bring it back to the front layer. So we're going to go down to the bottom in the look blocks, grab that go to front layer. And so now when I click on that piece of code to test it out, it does go to the very front layer now. Lastly, we're going to do the shoes. So we're going to take that hide block off again so it doesn't hide when we click on it. We're going to show the shoes and we're going to drag them over her feet so that it looks like she's wearing them. And now we're going to code for that. So in the event blocks, when I receive that school time event, I'm going to go to X negative 161, Y negative 137. I'm going to show, and then I'm going to move my hide block back to my code. So last test, we're going to click on the green flag. Hello, please help me get ready for school. I'll need my clothes, lunch, and school supplies. Click me when you're done. So we're going to click all of her school supplies and clothes and lunch. Click her when we're done. And that looks like everything, time to go to school. And we're going to broadcast that school time event. And it looks like she's now all dressed up, ready to go to school. And that is our code for today. So I hope you enjoyed that and you can dress up Harper however you'd like to get ready for school. And I hope you learned about lists and how you might be able to use them for making games, like maybe an inventory list or something like that. And I'd love to see what you come up with for your project. So for next week, we're actually going to start coding for our adventure game. So we're going to do part 1 of coding for that next week. And I'll see you all then. Bye.